What if everything you thought you knew about studying was silently holding you back? Not because you were lazy or incapable, but because you were repeating the same passive habits that feel productive yet fail when it matters most. And deep down, you already sense it every time you forget something you reviewed just yesterday. Every time you sit in an exam and your mind goes blank. Every time you realize that reading more is not the same as remembering more. And this is where the idea of the active revision loop begins to change everything. Because true mastery is not built by exposure alone, but by interaction, by struggle, by returning to the material again and again in a deliberate cycle that forces your brain to wake up and adapt. And the first step in this loop is studying with intention. Not just highlighting pages or watching lectures endlessly, but focusing on understanding the core idea behind what you learn, simplifying it in your own mind, breaking it down into something that feels almost too easy, because clarity is the foundation of memory. And without it, repetition becomes noise instead of reinforcement. And once you think you understand something, this is where most students stop. But this is exactly where the loop begins. Because the next step is testing yourself in a way that feels uncomfortable, pulling information out of your mind without looking, forcing recall even when it feels difficult. Because that difficulty is not failure, it is the signal that your brain is building stronger connections. And in that moment, when you struggle to remember, something powerful is happening beneath the surface. Something that passive reading can never achieve. And then comes the third step, reviewing your mistakes with brutal honesty. Not skipping over them, not ignoring the gaps, but studying them again with even more focus, turning your weaknesses into your next targets. And this cycle continues. Study, test, review, over and over again, until what once felt unfamiliar becomes automatic, until what once required effort becomes second nature. And the beauty of this loop is that it adapts to you. It evolves with your progress. It ensures that nothing fades away, because everything is revisited at the right time. And as you begin to trust this process, something shifts inside you. A quiet confidence starts to grow, not based on hope, but on proof. Proof that you can remember. Proof that you can improve. Proof that you are no longer just preparing for exams, but transforming the way your mind works. And this is only the beginning of what the active revision loop can truly unlock. At first, the active revision loop feels almost too simple to be powerful. And that is exactly why so many people underestimate it. Because the mind is wired to chase complexity, to believe that more resources, longer hours, and harder routines must lead to better results. Yet something strange begins to happen when you commit to this cycle with discipline. Something that does not reveal itself immediately. Something that builds quietly beneath your awareness. And this is where the suspense begins to take hold. Because you may follow the loop for days or even weeks without seeing dramatic improvement. You may question whether it is working at all. You may feel the same frustration creeping back as before. And in that moment, the temptation to quit becomes stronger than ever. But what you do not see is that your brain is restructuring itself in the background, forming deeper neural pathways, strengthening recall mechanisms, and filtering out weak connections. And then suddenly, without warning, a shift occurs. A moment where everything starts to click, where information you once struggled to remember begins to surface effortlessly, where questions that once felt impossible now seem familiar, almost predictable, and it feels as if you have unlocked a hidden level of understanding. But here is the truth that most people never realize. This breakthrough is not sudden at all. It is the result of consistent repetition, layered over time, each loop adding another layer of strength, another layer of clarity, another layer of confidence. And yet, even at this stage, the loop demands something more from you. It demands honesty, because it is easy to fall into the illusion of progress, to believe that getting answers right means you have mastered the material. But true mastery is tested under pressure, when distractions are present, when time is limited, when your mind is forced to perform without support. And this is where the loop evolves into something deeper, something more intense, where you begin to simulate real exam conditions, pushing yourself beyond comfort, exposing every weakness that still remains. And instead of fearing these weaknesses, you begin to welcome them, because each mistake becomes a guide. Each error becomes a map, pointing you toward what still needs attention. And this is where most students break, not because they are incapable, but because they are unwilling to face their gaps repeatedly. But if you stay in the loop, if you continue to cycle through study, test, and review with relentless focus, something even more powerful begins to emerge. A level of mental endurance that separates average performance from true excellence. And you start to realize that this process is not just about passing an exam. It is about training your mind to think, to adapt, to retain, and to perform under pressure. And once you reach this point, the loop is no longer just a method. It becomes a mindset, a way of approaching every challenge with structure and purpose. And this is where the real transformation begins to unfold. By the time you fully embrace the active revision loop, you begin to notice that it is no longer something you force yourself to do, but something that naturally guides the way you learn, shaping your habits, sharpening your focus, and strengthening your ability to retain information in a way that feels almost effortless. And this is where the final transformation takes place. Because what once felt like a struggle now becomes a rhythm, a system that operates with precision and purpose, ensuring that nothing important slips through the cracks. And you start to realize that forgetting is no longer your enemy. It is simply a signal, a reminder that something needs to be revisited, refined, and reinforced through the loop. And instead of feeling overwhelmed by the amount of material you need to cover, you begin to feel in control, because you know exactly what to do next. You know how to cycle back, how to test yourself, how to strengthen weak areas, and how to maintain what you have already mastered. And this sense of control creates a powerful shift in your mindset, replacing anxiety with clarity, replacing doubt with confidence, and replacing procrastination with consistent action. And as your exams approach, something remarkable begins to happen. Not only do you remember more, but you recall faster, you think clearer, and you perform with a level of confidence that is rooted in preparation rather than hope. And in those critical moments when others panic, when others struggle to retrieve what they studied, you remain steady. Because your mind has been trained through repetition, through testing, through review, again and again, until the process became second nature. And this is the true power of the active revision loop. It does not just prepare you for one exam, it equips you with a lifelong skill, a method that can be applied to any subject, any challenge, any goal that requires learning and mastery. And as you reflect on your journey, you begin to understand that success was never about talent or luck. It was about having a system that works, a system that keeps you engaged, and a system that evolves with you, and most importantly, a system that ensures nothing gets forgotten. And now, the only question that remains is whether you will commit to this process fully, whether you will trust the loop, even when progress feels slow, whether you will continue to show up, to test yourself, to review your mistakes, and to push forward with discipline and focus, because everything you want to achieve is waiting on the other side of consistency. And the moment you decide to take this seriously is the moment your results begin to change. So take control of your learning, build your loop, and let it guide you toward the mastery you have always been capable of achieving. And if you are benefiting from our topics, please subscribe, like, and turn on the bell notification so you can see our new videos early.